Welcome, everyone. This is the Diana Wright Show live, and we thank you so much for joining us from around the world and in the United States. We would love and hope that you've loved yourself this morning. You've gotten up and you've said, I love me. You've taught your children to love themselves, and you've taught someone around you, even your enemy, to love themselves, because love is crucial. Love is important. We all need it, we all want it, and it is Tuesday, and we're going to have Judith from People 490 join us. She's going to join us earlier today so she can get to a meeting. So anyway, we are going to start off today by just talking a little bit about women. You know that the devil hates women because the devil just not from day one. The devil blamed Eve for everything, and the devil is always trying to get us. But we have to forget and rebuke the devil. We cannot think about the devil. We cannot consider the devil. We cannot give the devil any power. We just have to think about the good one, Jesus. That's it. Stop blaming the devil for things. Just remember and keep in mind the devil is a lie. So let us get the devil behind us and move forward as women. Because yes, we've been burdened since we were born. We have to be cute. You know, like a lot of people, they look at babies and they say, oh, he's so cute. But if the baby isn't really that cute, do you just need to shut up and not say anything? Or just say, nice baby. Or congratulations on having the baby. Don't lie. If you don't think the baby is cute, do not say that. Only say it when you believe it. And women, did you actually know the time that you realize that you are healed from all your trauma and all the bad things that have happened in your life is when you begin loving yourself and taking care of you. Indeed, that's the time. So let's get our act together as women, begin to take care of ourselves and loving ourselves, and then we will get that moment that says, yes, I am good. If I'm whatever weight I'm at and I love myself, that's wonderful. If I'm single, I should love myself. If I'm married, I should love myself, even though I may feel lonely being married, because lots of us who are married are lonely sometimes. Just enjoy whatever moment you happen to be in at that time. So as we ponder and we think about all the things that women have to go through, we always have to be taking care of someone else. We have to take care of ourselves, which normally we do last, but you shouldn't. And you should not feel guilty about taking time to take care of you. It's simple. You just should not feel guilty or feel, am I doing something wrong? No. So I hope that when you opened your boxes of blessings this morning, you found that as a woman, you need to take care of you and you need to love you. And God has given you permission to rebuke and cast the devil out. So, when we're single, there's always someone worrying about when we're gonna get married. You decide if you truly want to get married. Have you thought about getting married and what it means? It simply means you become, as I like to call it sometimes, the maid. Because you then have to wash and clean and even if you're not doing it, you have to be responsible for it. Then you have to take care of the children, then you have to cook, then you have to wash, then you have to iron. And even if you have someone doing all those things, you still have to supervise it. Because your housekeeper is as good as you are. Don't have the housekeeper running wild doing what they want to do and take over your house. Don't allow the nanny to take over raising your children. It's still your responsibility. So yes, women, we are burdened, and then we are expected to go and have sex with our husbands and have an orgasm too. So yes, women, we are burdened. And when we get married, I remember when I got married, there's always someone saying, so when are you going to have a baby? I don't want to have a baby yet. I will decide when I want to have a baby. Don't allow anyone to pressure you into having a baby. So as we wait for Judith to give us a call and from People 490 and let us know what tips she has for us today, I'll just continue to remind women to love themselves. Stop trying to please everybody. Oh, your husband love long hair, so you're going to go out and get a weave even though you hate that thing. Don't get it. He married you with the hair you had, I'm sure. So why change? Oh, he married you and you were nice and plump, and then all of a sudden he wants you to be skinny. No. You do what is best and what you feel good about. Never tell me that you're losing weight because of your husband. Lose weight for yourself. Lose weight because you want to lose that weight. I promise you, it's the right thing to do. So as you wake up this morning, or you woke up this morning, please just make a decision to love you, to take care of you, to be you, just the way that God placed you on this planet. So here we go. Judith joins us right on cue. Hello, good morning, Judith. How are you?
Good morning, Madam Diana. How are you this morning?
I am very well, thank you. A little overslept, but I did not realize how tired, because the night before I didn't sleep very well. And my goodness, I made up for it this morning.
Oh, I thought you were up watching the heat burning up Miami.
No, not at all.
Burning up the Pacers.
And no, enjoying the rain, of course, because, I'm one of those. I love rain as long as I'm inside. So how are you doing this morning? How are you this morning?
I am doing just fine. I am so happy this morning. It's raining. Earlier we had some sun. Mm-hmm. Now we have some rain, but it feels so good. I'm one of those lush kind of a person. I like to see the greenery. I like the rain here. That is why I like the parish of Portland so much in Jamaica.
Oh, okay. Yes, that is a parish that has all that rain, man. You cannot plant anything in Portland and not worry about the rain coming and ruining it.
But then the rain is good for it, because the rain helps to germinate the seeds that are there.
Yes.
And get the nice fruits and vegetables and all those food. I just love to drive up to Portland and just see the beauty, drive on the side of the ocean, and it's just so refreshing, and it makes my spirit free. And on top of all of that, I'm an outdoor person.
Oh, okay, all right.
I will do all other stuff outdoors. So I'm not an indoor person.
Okay, well, sorry to disappoint you. I don't do dirt. I am an indoor person.
You don't.
I don't even like my fingers to get into the dirt. I'm sorry.
Wear a glove. Wear a hard glove and get out there and plant some stuff.
Oh my God, no. The day I start doing that, I'm gonna check myself.
Anyway, that's good to see.
Okay, so what do you have for us this morning?
Good morning to your viewers, listeners. It's just so nice to be here on Earth and to do good things for others.
Yes.
And hopefully they will buy into what you are doing or selling, and they will just use it to their advantage in the best way humanly possible.
Amen. Amen to that. Yeah. Amen. So what tips do you have for us today, Judith?
Well, this morning I would like to continue where I left off last week as it relates to the lunch/dinner interview.
Okay, great. Wonderful.
Yes, I want to hit that before I run out of time.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke about persons going on interviews at a lunch or dinner or
Right.
even for brunch or whatever the case may be. You know, it has to do with eating.
An eating
And-
event.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said an eating event.
Well, yes. And sometimes I've heard this said by interviewees
Mm-hmm.
that, I was invited to lunch with, whether the person is Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds promising, da-da-da-da. But what sometimes the interviewee rather, do not know is that lunch date that they have
Mm-hmm.
is an interview to prove to them how well
Mm-hmm.
you will behave with their clients if you're one of their representatives trying to get business for their company.
Okay.
What kind of etiquette are you going to display?
Okay.
Do you know how to use your knife and fork? Do you know how to sit at the table? Do you know how to place your napkin in your lap?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know which of the glasses you should be drinking from at a certain time? And all of those things
Okay.
are stuff that they will watch as you sit there feeding your face. And you are not aware of this. And another thing, you don't know where your side plate is. You're picking on their side plate instead of using your side plate. And all of that. So it's very important that you know these things. And we do training in etiquette, business etiquette, and you need to, it's not expensive. You need to come in and get this training, because sometimes these are some of the little things that why you don't get your job. Because they really sit and watch you. And they're eating too, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
They're watching.
They're
watching you
eating and
and
pretending like this is not really an interview, right?
Exactly. And they'll talk with you. And they'll even ask you a question about the meal that you're having. And they'll offer you stuff. And you don't even know. As a matter of fact, I'll give you an example. When in Jamaica, there's a prominent hotel out there who needed some employees. And they call us needing persons. At the time I was in Jamaica. And one of the persons that I spoke with needed to go out to lunch, because that was the first thing they wanted, because they were actually building the hotel at the time. I needed people to represent the hotel. And they were trying to send people to different places in the parish to get persons in, and they were going to send some to Chicago for training and all that kind of stuff. So it was a big deal.
Wow.
Yes. And they wanted to interview these people at lunch. And I had to take in a group of youngsters, and I had to do a lot of mock interviews. I had to tell them what is expected and all this kind of stuff. And one of them came back and said, "Miss," but in Jamaica they call you Miss. "Miss, it's a lucky thing that you told us this, that, and that, and that. Because. I just sat there and just smiled and felt so good in myself that I was able to prepare these youngsters for that particular interview.
Good.
So it's a good thing that they need to know.
And really and truly, though, a lot of people just don't know which knife to use if you have seafood, which knife to use for the main course, which fork to use for this and that. And, you know, I truly, when you talk about the placing the napkin in your lap, I'm going, why is it that people have the napkin on the table and it's supposed to be in your lap? I truly get annoyed with my daughter if she doesn't put the napkin in her lap, even when we're at home, because practice becomes perfect. Yes. You know,
yes.
so.
And one of the a little tip here for those who might be confused and as to how to use the utensils at the table, you can just think about it. This way you're starting from the outside and you're going in and you're doing your thing and you just one at a time. It depends on how many courses they are serving, if it's a 3-course meal, if it's a 7-course meal.
Right.
And they'll give you the utensils. You just know how to use them. Additionally, the server will always tell you if you're smart enough to if you think you don't know, just politely, secretly, of course, and ask, which one do I use first? And they'll tell you, but you just have to be a little discreet and, and get it on, and so that you can do well.
Right. Okay, so, I don't know, I guess people sometimes I think people feel insecure, and because they feel insecure, they don't take the time to go find out. Then they go to something like a luncheon to be interviewed, and then
I think I'm losing you somewhere.
Okay, maybe you want to call us back?
Okay, go ahead. I'm hearing you loud and clear now.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, I was saying that a lot of people, even though they know they're not able to identify the utensils in order of how to use them, they feel embarrassed to come and try to get training because they think they should know, but we really don't know everything. So it's okay.
And that's what happened. They think they should know, and they will never know if they don't come and get the training.
Exactly.
They never know. They will always be embarrassing themselves.
Exactly. And it's okay to get training. It's okay not to know everything. I mean, yes, you can go
They're
on.
not perfect.
Yeah.
They're not perfect.
Exactly. But a lot of people believe, I should know this because I have a job as an executive, and wow, what are they going to think of me if I go get training for this thing that I should have known? But, not everybody.
Well, you know what? I have good news for those persons who think that they know everything and they don't want to be included with other groups. I have two different kind of training. I have for the executive and I have for the non-executive.
Oh, wonderful.
So if you feel like you don't know, or you don't know, but you want to get the training and you don't want to be with the persons who are non-executive type, then that's all right.
Okay.
We have the training for the executive.
Okay, so you do divide. Okay, so there you go. If you're an executive and you feel, a little embarrassed because you're going to say, I don't want to go to a training with those people that are under me or whatever, or I'm the boss of them, then, you have a separate training that you feel more comfortable in. So that's a good thing. Yeah. Okay. That's good. So we straighten that out. Okay. What's next?
Okay. I want to also say to the persons out there who are seeking employment the importance of their appearance. I cannot stress that enough. They need to dress for the part. I don't care if you're going in for a job as a plumber or you're going in for an executive director position. You need to dress properly for that interview. Because if you don't, you're going to get the boot and you don't even realize it. They're not gonna take you on because they say, oh my God, you should see how she or he dressed to come to the interview. What are they thinking? And they're not gonna say that in front of you. And they're not gonna tell you, you didn't dress properly and stuff. They're not gonna say that, and that would be rude for them to even say that.
Right.
But they think it because you did not present yourself properly.
Okay, so dress to impress.
Exactly. Another thing, I would like listeners, viewers, please be confident in yourself. That is so important because you're going to go in there twiddling your thumbs, you're going to be spinning, switching, your hands all over the desk in front of the interviewer, and everybody gets nervous for an interview. That's understandable. That's a standard thing with everybody. But what you need to know before you get there is that you need to know you. so that and know what you're going for, know something about the company, make sure that all of your credentials are in place, you have them there in your little portfolio package or whatever, and go in confidence. Make sure you're there early enough, not before 15 minutes. Go there the 15 minutes, get yourself together, and then you go into the receptionist at 5 minutes before the time, because you don't want to go there and rush them, and you also do not want to be late.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the recruiting drive that you're having on June 15th, because that's actually just around the corner, so people know. It's going to be from 9 in the morning until 1 p.m. It's a Saturday. And just wanted you to give us a little roundup about that, because I have another question that I want to ask you about. Go ahead.
Yes, that is a recruiting drive that we're having. And if you're out there seeking employment, please come on over to 3800 Inverary Boulevard on Saturday, the 15th of June. We are starting at 9, and we will be going until 1 o'clock. And we have quite a few positions available. So if you are out there seeking employment, come on in and we'll go from there.
Okay, what are they supposed to bring to that recruiting drive, Judith? Their resume
and their cover letter.
And the cover letter. Okay. So that's not a place where you...
If they did not hear and time is closed, then it's okay to just bring your resume. We are not taking applications that day.
Okay.
We're taking resumes.
Okay, so a resume is important. If you don't have a cover letter, it's not that bad, right?
It's not going to stop you from seeing us.
Okay, but they should try to bring a cover letter and their resume.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
And of course they should dress properly. It's not just because of recruiting drive. You should also dress properly, right? Am I correct?
Well, you have to impress me, because if you can't impress me, you're not going to impress my client.
Okay. Okay, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, because the thing is, Diana, I am running a professional organization. And I want people who I represent to feel good with the work that I do, and to say, she really does a professional job. Therefore, the interviewers are going to tell other interviewers, and they're going to call me for interviewees.
Right.
And if that can go around in circles, then we're going to have a lot of job placements.
Right. Okay.
Because we're going to have we're going to recruit more people, because they're going to call me for people, and I'm going to recruit more, and I'm placing more people, and people are going to start getting jobs. So I have to do a good job in what I do, so that the word can get out there to the employers, and they will call me and say, boy, I heard a lot about your company, and I would love to have an employee from your company. Could you say, I'm looking for someone to work as a front desk clerk. Do you have anyone? And you bet I'm going to dig out the one that is going to represent my company, represent themselves, and also ultimately represent the company when they're hired.
Very good. I wanted to ask you a little bit about online, because a lot of young people who might be interested in the industries that you specialize in, especially the hospitality and, get cruise and all that kind of stuff, and jobs that are out there with the public, a lot of young people have crazy things on their Facebook page, and they say crazy things on Twitter. What is your advice to them? Is it something that they can clean up before they actually come to the interview? Or they're going to just, some of them seems to me that they'll just take their chances and hope that the employer does not check it out.
Mrs. Wright McLaughlin, I think you know something. Listen, they check those social network, internet services that are out there. a good thing.
Mm.
You're not going to get anywhere with them.
Oh my, wow. Well, a lot of young people have a lot of problems.
Yes. Be careful what you say when you are typing on your social network. In your group. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Nobody's saying you shouldn't have one.
Right.
But if you're in the business of job searching and you have one, be careful what you put out there.
Okay.
And sometimes people even get caught in lying because they put stuff on their Facebook page, for example, which is factual, and then when they go to the interview, they say something different. When they check their Facebook, they see something and check it out. It's true.
Wow.
But they lied at the interview. They lie at the interview. They say, well, that's not a good client. That's not a good customer, so we're not going to take that person.
Right. So you want to watch out because, young people, they're young and they feel they're invincible and all of that good stuff. But then sometimes they go to an interview and they forgot what they have on their Facebook page. So it's good for you to kind of remind them, look. So are these things that you talk to them about when they come to your recruiting drive first? Because
absolutely, ma'am.
Okay,
absolutely. I would encourage them to and not to.
Okay.
Do certain things.
Okay, so you
they
basically
don't want to take it, then that's up to them.
Okay, so you basically say to them, if you think you have anything on your Facebook page that's not appropriate, before you go to this interview, you need to do X, Y, Z.
Yes.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be found, because you and I know that.
Yeah. See, that's the problem about the internet. That's the thing.
That's a different show.
Yes. Yeah, because that's the thing I don't like about the internet. Even though you think you've taken down, that's why you don't put up what you don't want out there. Simple.
So be careful. First of all, just give it a thought before you even think.
Yeah.
Really, before you even put it out there. Because, for example, your Facebook, people copy and paste things, and then you delete it from your thing, but it's not deleted from theirs.
Okay.
And their friend might have copied it, and then the next friend of that friend copied it, and so it's still not off.
Yeah.
It's just not on your page.
Okay, I got it. So we just got to be careful. We just got to be careful when we do things, all right? So, seriously.
Yes, they need to. And the next thing I want to touch on before I run is the customer service training, the seminar that we'll be having.
Seminar. Yeah, that's in August, right?
August, correct.
Okay. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Is it August 3rd?
Yes.
August 3rd. So, for those who are interested in training customer service, call us up. We'll give you all the details on that.
So is that geared to individuals also, or just companies who have individuals that they want to train?
It's both.
Okay, both. All right. So
because there are companies who might call and have a group that they want us to train. We customize it to their needs, and we'll go in and do the training for them.
Right.
And stuff. Or they might just have some that they want to send over to us, and we will do the training. So individual or group, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
They just call us up and we'll tell them exactly what to do, where to go, and so on.
Wonderful. All right. Okay, Judith, I know you have to run, so final thoughts before you go.
Just to really reiterate what I talked about, it's very important when you're going out there seeking employment that you go with a lot of confidence, know what you're all about, know that you're going to meet people who are different, and when you go, be respectful, and just do the best that you can. And once you do the best, then of course we're not going to be asking for nothing more.
Amen to that. And there's just before I came on, there was an article online that says, "Are you ready for the workforce, college grads?" Yeah, so I said, okay, Judith
are coming out now. Yes. A lot of them, because it's graduation time, so we have a lot of youngsters speaking. As a matter of fact, I went to a forum in the week last week, and they were talking about the same thing here. Well, we just talked about, and I gave out some flyers and business cards, and one lady said to me, "Oh my God, I'm so glad to get this. I'm going to photocopy it because at my church, all these young people are graduating and they're looking for jobs. I'm going to make as many copies. Is that all right?" I said, "Sure, it's right. All right with me."
Exactly.
To give them about the church.
Yeah, so it's graduation time and lots of things are on the internet and just about what we're talking about, but they're just giving you the information. They're not training you to do it. So here you go to People 490 and you get trained to make sure you can polish all those little rusty spots that you got.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
And thank you for your time, Diana, and thank you for your show. I'm sure a lot of people are getting blessed by your show, and just keep on doing the things you're doing.
And thank you so much for joining us and sharing all that good information with us from People 490. So, Judith, got to run, but thank you for the time for today. All right, so next Tuesday you'll be here at your regular time for a longer time.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day. All right, that was Judith from People 490. Don't forget, she's having a recruiting drive on June 15th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please just go to the website people490.com and you will get the information that you need. It's going to be in Inverary, and that's in Lauderhill. So, you just, a lot of you are graduating from school. You don't know what to do. Yes, you're going to go to college, but, you still need to get your act together. Not everybody's going to end up in college. We know that, and we don't expect that I certainly would love that everyone goes to college, but we know that not all kids want to go to college and pursue that whole drive of education anymore. But you can get a career in some industries without going to college if you have the correct training. So here is where People 490 come in. So give them a call, go on their website, check them out to see what they do. And Judith is a wonderful resource of information and training. All right. So June 15th is her recruiting drive, and it's going to be from 9 to 1. And then on August 3rd, it's all Saturdays because she does it on a Saturday. Most people are off from work on a Saturday and can make it. And in August, she'll have a customer service seminar to teach you about, if you're going to deal with the public, my goodness. Because, a lot of us, we go into these jobs that has to do with the public and we really don't like people. You should not do a job that involves people if you don't like people. Because there's going to be some mean person that comes up to you and sets you off. And if you have the proper training in customer service, then you won't be ticked off. You'll just know how to handle that person. All right, so People 490, a good thing for you to check out. Thank you so much again for joining us, and welcome to all our viewers from around the world and in the United States. This is the Diana Wright Show. And I was caught by something that caught my eye yesterday when I was looking at the internet. Actually, it's in the afternoon yesterday. Miguel, he's a performer. And he was at a performance, and of course, I guess he got overwhelmed and, too much into his performance, and he actually kicked a fan in their face, not intentionally. And, he has tried to make good of that. But he did an interview for, I think it was Us Weekly. And he said some things that I thought, yes, we need to give this some thought. Because he's brave enough to actually say this. And he says, quote, "Black people are the most judgmental people in the world. We've been conditioned, pre-programmed to hate ourselves. That's why I appreciate those who choose to think and act for themselves, regardless of ethnicity or culture." He went on to talk about the problem, cannot be fixed until we face that there is indeed a problem. And I thought to myself, what a brave young man to be able to say something like this. Because we are truly judgmental. against each other and against other people. And if we look into ourselves, some of us, because I've never been conditioned to hate myself, I've always been conditioned to love who I am and be happy in the things I choose to do. And as my mom used to say all the time, as long as it makes you happy, go for it. Right? So I gave that great thought, and I wonder, how many of us as black people are being programmed to hate ourselves? Maybe the reason he made that statement is because he experienced that. I don't know. But it just opened my eyes and wonder, why is it that black people are always trying to be someone else? And I thought of the fact that, you know, almost every black woman I see nowadays is opting to have long hair. And when I say long hair, I mean a whole lot of long hair. Some look really miserable to me, and some look fabulous, because some of them you can't really tell it's not their own hair because they're using expensive human hair, and the ones that are using the synthetic, some of them it just looks so miserable, and they have it on and you will see their natural hair that they didn't even process to match what they're putting on, and it looks hideous. And is it that those women were programmed by someone who told them that their hair that they had was not fabulous, or that they needed something else to add? What are we suffering for? And I just thought, Miguel, kudos to you, my brother. You are so brave to face this head on and to speak your mind. And I hope that a lot of people, instead of getting angry with you, they will embrace what you said and look into themselves and truly begin to love who they are just the way they are, as opposed to trying to always being someone else. It is so, I think it must be a lot of hard work trying to be someone else, and it must be expensive too, because that weave thing is quite expensive. I mean, I tell you that, you know, I have hair in different phases. You know, you have lots of hair when you're younger, and then when you have children, you might lose some of it, or, you know, in my case, it just grew and grew and grew and grew. But then tragedy comes and you lose your hair because you're so stressed out, because stress will allow you and make you lose your hair. There's no joke about that. But what do you do? And there's always someone in my ear, even when I did my show in Jamaica, saying, you know, oh, you need to put a piece here and a piece there. And I'm telling you, I did in a few shows, and I wanted to take that thing out of my head before the show was finished. If Pat was not there, I probably would. Seriously, because I personally find it so uncomfortable. I tried it here too, and it was just as miserable. So I've just given up on that thing. Forget it. You know, so just accept me for who I am and how I am and the way I look. And I love me just the way I am. So I'm encouraging you to take the words of Miguel today. Think about them. Don't get offended by them, because a lot of us, we get offended too easily. So if he says that black people are judgmental and black people are programmed to hate themselves, evaluate what he said. Think about it. It might not apply to you, because no one taught me to hate myself. I was taught to love myself. But some young people are truly burdened by people saying, oh, you're so ugly, oh, you're this, oh, you're that, when they're younger, and those people are actually not thinking ahead to say how this truly affects this person. Or you're no good, or you're not going to be anything, or, you know, stuff like that. You hear parents say them. And people from the Caribbean, some of them beat their children. I witness parents abusing their kids in just cruel ways. No one is saying don't discipline your child, but you don't have to murder them in the process, because those children take those things and internalize it and keeps it. And then when they become adults, they just can't move ahead of that pain. Yeah. You have kids who, parents would have said something to them and they just get stuck. Even in their career, they just don't think they can move forward because of what my mom said to me, or my dad said to me, or my great aunt said to me. So we need, and we truly should be careful what we say to our children, how we encourage them. We must be hugging them and loving them and telling them how beautiful they are, how handsome they are. And even when they do bad on a test, yes, let them know they did bad. You got a D and it's not acceptable. I expect more of you. It's wonderful, and we must expect our children to succeed. Because when they go to school, most of the times they have white teachers who are treating them just the same way and acting as if they don't really expect much from them. Because I've heard teachers say, oh, if I have a classroom and I see Indians and Chinese kids coming in, I'm like, yeah, I know these are going to be good. But what did they say about the black kids? And they don't even have to say it, just their persona and their body language and how they treat those kids make them feel inferior. So you as a parent or a family member have to build up the self-esteem and the self-confidence. You heard Judith talk about confidence. You have to be confident in yourself when you're going for a job. Yes, we are going to be nervous. I don't care what interview I go to. I'm going to be nervous. But as you start to speak and you assert yourself, because you're already confident, so you won't stay nervous for long. As soon as you get into your flow and into your rhythm, you move on. But if you have that little person, that little voice in the back of your mind saying, oh, Johnny, you ain't going to be no good. Oh, Johnny, you're this. Oh, Clara, you're that. You got to try really hard, because I know it's hard. It's very difficult to get voices out of your head that were planted there when you were little children. But you must. I'm saying that you must command yourself to forget, to erase some of those thoughts that were planted when you were young. Whether you're black or white or Hispanic, it doesn't really matter. We have negative people in our lives no matter what color we are, no matter what ethnicity, no matter which country we live in. We have child abuse everywhere. So I'm here to encourage you to erase that demon from your memory. Get it out of your system, just the way I opened the show and I ask you to rebuke the devil. I ask you to rebuke those voices that you just can't seem to shake from you were young and feel deprived. And a lot of us parents, we make mistakes and talk about, oh, I'm going to give you all the things that my mother didn't give me or my dad didn't give me. Don't do that. And don't verbalize that to your children either. If you are in a better position than your parent was, just embrace that position and give it joyfully to your children. Stop the negative. Because sometimes if you go back and you look and you reflect, your parents did the best job they could with what they knew at that time. So some of us need to forgive our parents. A lot of us are holding grudges against our mothers because they didn't show you love. They didn't hug me. Okay, go hug yourself and find someone else to hug you. And make sure that when you have children, you hug them. And forget about what your mother didn't do and what your daddy didn't do. Make sure that you are now creating the atmosphere for your children that will make them feel loved, be loved, and feel secure. And don't go out there trying to find a man to plug the hole in their hearts. Because a lot of young women, they feel deprived, and that's the reason they're always seeking to find a guy to fill that hole that the daddy didn't fill. Or, oh, I want him to love me. But you got to start from loving yourself and be confident in yourself. And raise your own self-esteem, because that's what it is, self-esteem. It comes from within you. Self-confidence comes from within you. Yes, I can open a media school and teach you how to be good on radio or on television and all that, but it begins with you. So, that ends my preaching. So just take Miguel at his word, embrace the words, evaluate the words, and don't hate Miguel. Don't be a hater because he said something that is actually true. And we need to really embrace that and evaluate. And then, come on you, love me, love you, love yourself, and think of the word love. It's the biggest word on the planet. We seek it. Some of us just can't find it. But if you truly love yourself, I promise you, love will come. And stop looking for love, women. It will find you. Don't go looking for it or hunting for it. It will find you. Don't worry. It will find you. Okay. I just thought I would run through these this morning because I'm going to discuss them with Dr. Melanie later on this evening at the 8 o'clock hour of the Diana Wright Show. And before I get to that, I just want to remind you to love us on Facebook. Give us the thumbs up on Facebook and tell a friend. If you tell a friend, share what you're getting from the program with someone else. So we can get everyone around the world loving themselves. So when we get to April 30th, 2014 and celebrate the second I Love Me Day, we will have millions of people wearing the Diana Wright Show t-shirts which says I love me, or just taking time out to love themselves, celebrate themselves, appreciate themselves, and just truly loving who you are. I don't think I can stress that enough. I don't think I can say it enough. I just want to get everyone to put it in their cranium, in their soul, in their spirit, and in their hearts. And believe it, because it is indeed the right thing to do for you. So surgeries that you should avoid. Wow, I'm just going to give you the top line of them and leave the details for this evening at the 8 o'clock hour with Dr. Melanie Simpson. I'm sure she'll be able to go into details because some of us, we run to the doctor for everything. Some things can be solved by diet if you just take a little time and research. Avoid hospitals as much as you can. And when you read my book, you'll know why. My book, titled Deadly Negligence, will be out shortly. Yes, my story is big and tragic and devastating and all that. But you will learn something from it. And one of the things that I want you to do is stay out of hospitals. And if you have to be there, make sure you don't leave your children or your loved one unattended. Yes? So surgeries that you should really avoid. Stents for stable angina. Who knew? Every time someone has a heart attack or whatever, they talk about stents. So who knew that was number one that you should avoid? Wow. Instead of stents, they're recommending some other things. You have to come back for that at 8 o'clock. Complex spinal fusion for stenosis. And I'll ask Dr. Melanie to explain stenosis in a simple form. Okay? Obviously, they gave you the information that you need to take care of it on your own. So, hysterectomy. Oh my goodness, I have a woman that I interviewed years ago who wrote a book about hysterectomy. A doctor. As a matter of fact, I think I should try to find her again. I have her book on my shelf. And most of the times, ladies, hysterectomy surgery is not necessary. They did surveys that tell you that. And that's a hysterectomy trying, to get rid of uterine fibroids. And the next one that I was quite astonished about is knee arthroscopy for osteoarthritis, because a lot of people are getting those these days. And they're saying, whoopsie, hold up, don't go so fast. Because the people who got the surgery and the people who went to diet and therapy and all that kind of stuff, they've gotten the same results. My. So we'll save that for the 8 o'clock hour for the details of those things. But I just want you to keep that in mind, just in case you're in the hospital right now, lying on your back, waiting for that surgery. You may want to just say, hold up, doctor. I got to wait until the 8 o'clock hour of the Diana Wright Show to get the details before I decide to have this surgery. Even if you have to get mad and send me home, I will wait. Okay, some people, of course, there's always going to be extreme cases and all that, but I look forward to talking to Dr. Melanie about that later on this evening. So do join us for the 8 o'clock hour of the Diana Wright Show, because we promise it's always good. And then tomorrow morning at the 10:30 hour, we have Dax Dunn. And if it's Wednesday, it's what? Wellness Wednesday. So we try to make you healthy, to do the right thing for yourself and lose some weight if you want to. And we encourage you to detox. I heard someone talking about different types of detox. Do they really help? And whoops. Yeah, a doctor actually said it's good. You just got to make sure you know which one you're getting into. Yeah. Okay, we see that the banks are still at it. Hidden fees are still a problem. We know, and this is Mr. Weinstock, the person who looked into this, and he said this: we know that hidden fees push people out of the banking system, and we don't want that. We also want a marketplace where consumers can shop around based on the fees and terms and conditions. If disclosures are poorly done or hard to read or too long, then people can't shop around. Close quote. For this report, the Pew defined best practices as policies and procedures that 1. Provide checking account holders with clear and concise disclosure about cost and terms. 2. Reduce overdrafts and eliminate practices that maximize overdraft fees. 3. Do not require all problems to be settled by binding arbitration, but allow other dispute resolution options. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not quite sure why some of us little people are having overdrafts in our bank account. We should spend only what we have. All these banks, they try to say, oh, you need to get this. No, thank you, because that's just temptation to try to get you to do something that you really should not be doing. If you don't have the money in the bank, do not write the check or do not swipe your card. Simple. Be disciplined. Manage your money. Learn to manage your money. And that's exactly why the rich will always get richer and the poor will stay poor. Because we're not reading the fine print. And we're not taking our time, and we're always trying to be like the Joneses. If you can't afford something, and just think about it, even if you're going to charge something, if you cannot afford to pay that bill off when that credit card bill comes, you can't afford it. So don't get it. You're not going to die because you didn't get some retail shopping in. I have a story about retail shopping, actually. Retail therapy, it's called. Anyway, no bank provided all best practices or even good practices in each of these categories, but 97% had at least one best practice. And two of the country's largest financial institutions, Citibank and Bank of America, made the top 5 lists. Who knew they could? Wow. Ally Bank, which is an internet-only banking service, was the leading bank in this study. Can you imagine an online bank? And I've always thought to myself, I didn't know an online bank. I'm kind of scared of that. But Ally Bank, they advertise a lot. An internet-only banking service was the leading bank in the study. The other highest performers in order are Charles Schwab, which I love. That's a Charles Schwab Bank. They used to be just doing investments and brokerage, but now they are actually a bank. First Republic Bank, Citibank, and Bank of America. So look, you have Ally Bank number 1, then there's Charles Schwab Bank, then there's First Republic Bank, Citibank, and Bank of America. That's the top 5. So Pew had hoped to survey the top 50 U.S. banks for this report, but the data from 14 of them was not available online or by mail. Customers could only get this information by visiting a branch office. And quotation here from Mr. Weinstock again, it's another reason why we think the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that's the CFPB, should get involved. Consumers can't shop around if banks don't make the information available to them, let alone make it hard to read. Yes, it is hard to read and it's hard to understand sometimes. If it's not available at all, that's even worse. Because some banks, they just don't give you anything. They just tell you a whole lot of, baloney. So Pew wants the CFPB to write new rules for checking accounts. So you may want to watch that and be prepared when those new rules come out, because they're not going to tell you. No, they don't want you to know what's going on. They just want your money. How about that? Okay, this is quite important. Smithfield, I'm sure you might have heard it from last week if you're watching the business channels. The world's largest pork processor and hog farmer has agreed to be acquired by China's Shanghai Group. I am not so sure about that. Isn't China the place that has all them problems about meat and, hogs in the river and stuff like that? Yes. Is that really any reason to freak out? This is a question that's being asked. In short, I would say yes, and this person actually says yep. Forget for a moment that if it clears scrutiny by the U.S. Committee on Foreign Investment, the deal would become the largest Chinese acquisition of a U.S. company ever. Think about it now. Is China buying us all out? Then some of the people that fight against products from China, we just won't succeed at all. But anyway, I think it's a little hard to fight these days, because everything you buy, whether it's upscale clothing, downscale clothing, it's all made in China. So here we go with the food thing now. As the New York Times points out, Americans are increasingly eating food imported from China. Did you know that? Read the label. The Agricultural Department indicates that by the end of last year, 2012, the United States had imported 4.1 billion pounds of food products from China. 4.1 billion. That includes half of U.S. apple juice consumption, 80% of its tilapia, the fish that we all talk about and love so much, and more than 10% of its frozen spinach. Recently, China's been plagued with problems ranging from melamine deliberately put into pet foods and baby formula to unsafe levels of cadmium in rice. More recently, fox, rat, and mink meat there was doctored with gelatin, pigment, and nitrates and sold as mutton. So we just got to be careful. I actually need to find a farmer, someone that raises goats, that I can get goat directly from them, because this is getting a little funny, because I like to have some goat meat once in a while, once every 6 months or twice a year or so. I want to make sure I'm buying goat and not something else. Though Smithfield says the deal was intended to deliver more pork to China, so they're thinking export as opposed to import. Not the reverse. The fact that China is barred from exporting fresh pork or beef to the United States because it still has outbreaks of hoof and mouth disease is troubling for American consumers and lawmakers alike. A congressional hearing this month entitled "The Threat of China's Unsafe." Did you know that there was such a thing going on in Congress? Yes, it is. Leave it to me to find it. So it's called The Threat of China's Unsafe Consumables. So Congress is actually looking into that. They're actually doing some work that you don't know about. All you hear about is these scandals about the Obama administration, IRS and, AP and Benghazi. But yes, they're actually doing other things behind the scenes. This underscores just how nervous Chinese food products tend to make folks on this side of the Pacific feel. The key problem is that while imported foods sold here are supposed to be labeled with their country of origin, a whole lot of imports end up in the restaurant and other ready-made meals where the sourcing is still in question. So that's the reason why we try to, when we have Wellness Wednesday, we try to encourage you to cook your own food. Do you know there's actually a book that a man actually wrote? It's out. It's called Cooked, meaning cook at your house. Once those imports are processed in any way, whether by mixing vegetables or mashing fish into sticks and patties, the government no longer requires labels of origin. Also, while Americans may have a short memory when it comes to food scandals abroad, they tend to remember little memes or little memes, like the videos of thousands of pig carcasses floating down the river. That's the one I just spoke about. That's suppliers drinking water to Shanghai. Yeah. It also doesn't help that Shanghai itself was caught selling pork laced with clenbuterol. What on earth is that? I gotta ask Dax about these things. Clenbuterol? Why are we putting that in our food? Ugh. A veterinarian medicine banned. That's what it is. Here it is, right there, the explanation. It's a vet medication that was banned for use in animals intended for human consumption in 2011, just the other day. While food experts claim the Smithfield buy is part of a continued effort to clean the food supply in China, which already buys 12% of all U.S. pork, there are also concerns that new owners could cut into the U.S. share of Smithfield meat should supplies get tight. So I'm going to leave this story so we can talk about it more in detail on Wellness Wednesday with Dax Dunn tomorrow morning. It's incredible to see the things that are being put in our food. Sometimes you're kind of afraid to even eat these days because you're not sure what you're eating. And when you go to a restaurant, you're going, I wonder where they purchased those things. I wonder where that chicken came from. I wonder where they got that pork or where they got that goat meat or whatever. You just don't know. You just got to be vigilant on your own. But we see that Congress is actually doing a little bit. So I'll keep that in mind and I'll find out for you and I'll bring you the information when I can. Goodness, the time has passed and it's time to go. But I want to remind you again that if you'd like to be a sponsor of the Diana Wright Show Live, please just give me a call and let me know at 561-228-1921. Or if you'd like to be a partner or an advertiser, just let me know too. But do join us this evening at the 8 o'clock hour with Dr. Melanie Simpson as we go through some of these things that I've discussed, the surgeries especially. We'll talk about the fact that Michael Douglas is claiming that he got cancer from having oral sex. Or doing oral sex, I should say. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And tomorrow morning at the 10:30 hour, it's Wednesday, so it's Wellness Wednesday. And then on Thursday morning, of course, I'll be here with you to just go through the news. And then Tuesday at the 8 o'clock hour, we have Dax Dunn and Vanya joining us. Vanya comes in sometimes. She's been here all the weeks that we've been on. And we talk about issues of men. We allow men to speak. So Men Speak is our Thursday 8 o'clock hour. And then, of course, on Friday, we go through the news, and the one that wowed me, like this story just really bugs me about that whole China deal with Smithfield. Ooh, Wow, all those people who love their ham for Christmas and they buy the Smithfield brand. What are you going to be worried about now? We're told that all the employees will be kept on, so no one's going to lose their jobs, but we'll be watching that too. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that something I said or something that Judith shared with you will help you, will uplift you, will give you self-confidence that you need to carry on. Yes? And we hope for sure that you are loving yourself, teaching your children to love themselves, and teaching someone else, even if they're your enemies, to love themselves, because maybe they'll just be a better person after loving themselves. And hoping also that you opened your boxes of blessings, gold or purple, and found what you wanted from God and what you've been praying for. So stay prayed up. Have a great rest of the day, whether you're in Florida or wherever you are around this country or around the world. We thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day. Be prayed up. And keep in mind that you should, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it was never yours. So don't stress. Just keep moving on. As I say, au revoir, ciao, and adios. Thanks again for joining me. And do have a blessed and prayed up day. You have to pray. And you may be shocked. Your prayers will be answered. Take care. Ciao.